We're in Friona, and we're visiting with one of our dearest friends, Rheata White. And she has had here at the Syndicate Hotel in Friona an art show hanging. And, you know, Rheata, it's just a good feeling to sit beside you.
Thank you. It is you too, Maggie.
I've known you a couple of years.
Yeah, one or two.
Rheata, how did you get started in the world of art? When was your first memory of being interested in art?
When I was about 5 or 6 years old.
Really?
Uh-huh. And Mother and Daddy saw the interest, so they saw that I had private art lessons.
And where did you all live at that time?
I think at that time we lived in Denver City, Texas. And I'm not sure it could have been Dimmitt, but I believe it was Denver City.
And how old were you when you moved to Muleshoe?
Let's see, I was in, I graduated the 8th grade, so I guess at the end of the 7th grade.
And so you actually went through a graduation, junior high or 8th grade graduation in Muleshoe?
Yes.
What was the school building you went to when you first came to Muleshoe, Rheata?
Barracks.
Oh, really?
We went to school in the barracks. Kids nowadays don't remember the barracks.
Yeah. Oh, we've got them now in Muleshoe.
They're not the same ones, though.
No, they're very modern, but we're overflowing, and so they moved in quite a few. Portable classrooms is what they're called now.
Yeah, they're a whole lot different.
Yeah. Now, Rheata, when you graduated from high school in Muleshoe, what year was that?
It was in 1953.
53. And so where did you first go?
Okay, the first place I went was to Houston, to Betty Bann's School of Floral Design for a year. And then when the school didn't take a year, that's the first place I went. Then the following year I went to Tech, and went to Tech 2 years, and then after that I moved to Plainview, and then I moved back to Lubbock, and then I moved back home and started to Eastern and Clovis Community College now, but it at that time was a part of Eastern. And I taught over there and studied over there in both of them.
Now, where was your very first job where you actually got a paycheck?
At Muleshoe Floral.
And who was it for?
It was for Mary and Travis Reed.
And the floral shop was located really right behind and connected to the funeral home, right?
That's right.
And so do you remember the first wedding that you ever directed?
I don't.
Maybe Buddy and Alvalise?
No, I think I had some before then.
But you really had a real knack, and not just floral design, but as a very young person directing a wedding.
Well, I did that for many, many years.
And you did it well.
Thank you.
And now, is there one award that you received over these many years that you remember so fondly?
I think it would be Who's Who among America's favorite teachers.
Really?
Uh-huh.
When did you find an interest in teaching, especially children art?
Oh, it's been just about 3 generations ago.
Really?
We're in the 3rd generation.
Oh, my goodness. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't take from.
Now, let's start with this. This is just one of the watercolors, right?
Yes, yes.
Now, tell me, how do you get an idea of what you want to paint?
Well, I think you have as many ideas as there are things in the world. And when you paint every day or consistently, even if it may not be every day, ideas just flow like they do with anything that you do every day. This one was done the idea for this was from Cladcroft, New Mexico, and the aspens. And of course it has a pretty bright color palette, but it has a lot of the aspen features.
And now tell us your connection with Cloudcroft, because there's a long time connection there.
Yeah, I had an art school, and I started it in, I believe, 1984, and it lasted through 1995.
And every summer you went for the whole summer to Cloudcroft, did
Yeah.
you, for years?
Yeah, I sure did. And I went to Cladcroft to paint for many years before I ever had my art school.
And now the school wasn't just it was adults and children.
Yes, and teenagers too. It was all of them. And we had people from all of the United States and abroad.
Isn't that wonderful?
Oh yeah, I loved it.
And then in that scenery, it's inspiring.
Oh yeah.
Now let's go from the watercolor to another watercolor. Don't we have right here? Tell us about this one.
This one is an on-location painting, and it's out of Hope, New Mexico.
Now, where is Hope?
Hope is in between Roswell and Cladcroft, New Mexico. It's just a little town with a coffee shop that's a good place to stop that had homemade pies.
Sounds good.
It was good.
Did you make any friends there?
Oh yeah, I make friends everywhere I go.
Now, the windmills, Rheata, I just always think of you in windmills.
Thank you.
There's a windmill in this one, isn't it?
It's back in the distance, but it's there.
It's there, yes. That reminds me at Paladura Canyon Amphitheater, where Texas has been presented so many summers. You entered a contest there, or represented our Muleshoe and Bailey County area.
And I won first place. It was the first competition.
When it opened that
Yeah.
first year. Probably about, what would you say, 1966, do you think?
Probably at least that far back.
Somewhere in there. Now, is that still hanging there in the amphitheater?
No, I have that in a private collection.
Oh, you do? But it had a windmill in it, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a windmill.
It was a windmill.
Yeah.
Not just in the background.
Right.
Okay, now let's look at the enamel on copper that you did, the butterfly.
Okay, enamel on copper is one of the oldest arts that is known, and it dates back to Egyptians. And it's done in a kiln, and it has to have the backside on it, along with the front side. And the front side, when you first begin it, doesn't have a design. The design is up to you. And there are many, many, many different ways to design enamel on copper, but it can be fired, and most usually is, between, I would say, 5 times and 8 to 10 times, up to as many times as you want to before you finish your enamel.
I didn't realize that many times.
Yeah, you can fire it as many times as you need to. Counter enamel is what's on the back, and this is one I own of Marilla Nose, and this is called flux, and that's where you see the copper all the way through. And this is the copper that you see, the copper color.
I see.
Then the front side, she has a couple of cats and a fish and a bowl, and the composition of it is very nice. Ray and I do enamel together many, many years, and went to shows together, and just had a really wonderful life too.
Well, and you were neighbors too.
Oh yeah, we were good neighbors. Arlene Phelps was one of our neighbors.
Of course, Marie Leno and Arlene lived in Muleshoe, and Marie just really had, I think, I loved her enamel on
Oh,
collar.
I did too. I love all of her work.
But I'm so glad this one that has the cats in it.
Uh,
That was just sort of Marie.
It was. And this one is just really an unusual, the shape is unusual, and the color palette's unusual. The whole thing is unusual.
And now over here is another one of Rita's.
This is a portrait and oil painting, and this is an old master's technique of drawing with Conte and then going in with oil and leaving about a third of the underpainting, and usually it's about a third, and a third of underpainting, drawing, and opaque paint. And that's what this is.
Now, did somebody sit for this one, or?
Yes, this is from a model. And usually if I have someone sit, they break every 15 minutes because they can faint if you don't break them pretty often. Children can't sit that long, so you have to really get a good quick drawing of them before you break.
And what is Conte?
Conte is a pressed chalk that is pure color.
A pressed chalk.
That is pure color.
And it has to be a pure color.
And there are shades of black to white in Conte. It's not just this was the red that I used in this particular portrait.
And I think that here in the Syndicated Hotel in Friona, which is right across the street from the city square where the Santa Fe Depot is, you can see here to my left some of Rita's other artwork that is hanging right now. Now, this medium is what?
This is oil painting.
This is oil.
Both of them are oil painting. The top one has a texture worked through with the oil, where the bottom one does not. It has a texture, but it's a smoother texture than the top one is.
And now, you know, I told you this the day of the reception when this particular art display opened, that, you know, what that reminded me of was your silk paintings, or painting on silk. Can you tell what I'm talking about, that it looks like that?
Yeah, I wish we had some silk to show, but I didn't have any for this show.
But you've done a lot.
Yeah, I have. I've done. In fact, we did a tape on it, if you'll remember, years ago.
Did. And you did a lot of scarves. Just beautiful colors.
Pillows and, the dyes are French dyes, and just beautiful colors.
Now, how do you take care of a scarf or a pillow?
You just hand wash it and iron it.
And you iron it?
Yeah, hand wash it and iron it.
And now right behind us, Rita, can you see what's hanging right behind us?
I can. It's an oil painting, and it has fruit and flowers and a apothecary jar and a little pitcher and a candlestick. And that is another one that's done in the old master's technique. And if you'll notice, the old masters have 3 or more different layers of paint, and a lot of it is done at one time. A lot of it takes several months to do. You go in and do so much and let it set so long, and then go in and work on it more and let that set so long. There are techniques to where you can go in and do it all a prima, which means all at once.
Rita, what had you rather do subject-wise when you are painting? What's your favorite, or can you really even say there's a favorite subject when you paint?
I can't really say, because I've been lucky enough in my life to paint pretty much what I wanted to. And I love the space and the windmills. I love the flowers. And I was in the floral industry many, many years. And so they really worked as complementary professions. So I really can't zoom in on any one thing that I've done.
I just have to tell this story, and you'll remember it well. When Jack and I married, well, I wanted magnolias in my wedding bouquet, and especially if you live in West Texas, you don't have magnolias in your wedding bouquet. You know, you just don't see it. You touch them, it's like a gardenia, and they're going to bruise. But you can't go to the florist and buy a magnolia. They're not going to ship them because if you ship them in trucks or cars or anyway, air, well, they'd come black instead of white. And so anyway, Rheata never said no. And that was the sweet thing, Rheata. You know, you didn't say, Maggie, you know, you just don't have magnolias. So Rheata writes out at length how my cousin who lived in Jefferson in deep East Texas could bring the magnolias. Well, to my cousin, because we said magnolias and not magnolia blossoms, and she knew that I would not be an idiot and want her to bring the blossoms. She brings, what was it, 36 polished leaves?
Right.
Or unpolished leaves.
Right.
And, of course, she thought that was really something. And the wedding was at 10 or 10:50. It was a morning wedding in a garden. And Rheata didn't get them until, I'm going to say, 6 o'clock the night before. So, therefore, Rheata doesn't know there's no flowers for my bouquet. Plus, there were supposed to be 2 other bouquets that had also magnolias, and magnolias were supposed to be on it wasn't an arch, it was a cathedral type outline of a backdrop to where Jack and I were going to get married. Jack could have cared less what there was, you know. Anyway, here Rheata calls and she says, is your cousin here 10 o'clock in the morning the day before? No, she hadn't gotten here. 12 noon, no, she hadn't gotten here. 1 o'clock, no. 4 o'clock, no. She finally gets in at 6, and here are leaves. 36 leaves from a magnolia tree. Of course, they're beautiful and big. Rheata absolutely did the most wonderful. I don't care what bouquet it is, Queen Elizabeth or Princess Di or anybody else. And she feathered gladiolas at the last minute and worked them into the polished magnolia leaves. And Rheata, it was just the most beautiful bouquet for me and for my attendants, too.
Thank you, Maggie.
You know, I mean, thank God you had some glads there.
Right. Thank God. You always can do that.
Oh, they were beautiful, just magnificent. Rheata's just so talented, not in painting only, but in floral design too, and directing weddings, and as a teacher also, a very loving and kind teacher. Now, let's see. Let's move over, Robert, to Rheata's floral over here, and it's not peonies. What is that?
It's red poppies.
Poppies. I got a P.
Uh-huh.
Peonies. That is just beautiful, and also, Rheata, don't you think that the frame just sets it off perfectly?
Oh yeah, I really do. I really do.
How do you frame something? How do you decide on a frame for?
You need to think about just the continuation of what's there.
Not where you're going to hang it.
you need to consider that too.
Yeah.
But a painting that is framed as a continuation of the painting will hang nearly anywhere you want to hang it.
Now, did you arrange the poppies, or was this from a picture?
No, this is just from creative painting.
And is this memory?
Yes.
This is memory, not you looking at something.
Yeah.
That you didn't have to look, and that isn't that harder? Isn't that more talent?
I'm not sure what it is. It's just fun to do.
Fun to do. Oh, now I don't think, Robert, you can get the other one back there, can you? Okay, we're going to move and walk around and look at some of the beautiful other pieces here at Syndicate Hotel of Rheata Peeler Whites.
This is an oil painting, and I did this several years ago. It's a little bit different technique. It's a stencil and drawing technique, and it also is one that is like the old master's technique. It's just a floral in a pot, and it has the mixed flowers in it and design that runs throughout the bottom of it. Then this is a watercolor, and I did this at the Heritage where I live now, and I don't have a lot of space for big paintings, so I do a lot of small work over there. And I really love miniatures, so that's not a problem for me at all. The miniatures are included in these enamel on copper with different subjects. The cup and saucer with the striped wall is just a little bit different technique, and you can see the copper coming through when you are close to the copper. Then I use a penny weight copper, which is the weight of what a real penny used to be. It's one of the heaviest coppers that you can use in enameling. There's only one that's heavier, and it's not used for enameling very much. The little parrot is transparent and opaque both, and it's just a nice little study of a parrot. And then to the left is a little floral that is also opaque and transparent, with design worked in around the pot there. On the right is a little bouquet that's done with different tools, and that piece had to be kilned about 10 times to get what I wanted. Then there's a little butterfly over on the right, and almost all of mine have a number of firings to them. Then up on the easel is floral with drawing and flowers, and what that is, the color in that is called open color, which means it runs throughout the canvas. It's done in a transparent technique with the drawing accenting the flowers and the vases and the seashells.
Rita, are all of these for sale?
Nearly all of them are for sale that we'll see. I have Bobby Harrison's egg collection up here, and she owns 4, and of course they're not for sale.
Or Marie Leno's?
No. I have several of hers and several of Arlene's and several of really wonderful artists that are not for sale.
Okay.
Yeah, are you ready? Okay. This is a watercolor still life, and this is done from an actual bowl of fruit, an actual vase, and an actual pot. Lots of fun things you can do with watercolor. This one has bird seed in it to create a design, and then it has a lot of design that runs throughout the painting in different areas. The one on the top is called Impressions, and it is an impressionistic painting, watercolor painting. The composition is a light cross that runs down through it, and if you study it for just a few minutes you can see that. The one below it is named Mirage, and it is a watercolor painting also. It has some stencil work in it and then some drawing. I love to draw, and I do a lot of drawing and you see a lot of drawing in my work. Earlier I mentioned Bobby Harrison had a collection of ostrich eggs, and this is one of her ostriches. These are acrylic on the ostrich egg, and an ostrich egg is quite tough. Some people don't know that every ostrich has a marking on the egg. That is the only marking that that the mother can tell her baby chick by, and each mother has a different mark. Have any?
Now,
behind me?
Yeah, turn it real slow so we can see
Okay.
the entire egg, Rita.
Okay.
Now, this egg actually belonged to Bobby.
Yes.
She brought it to you.
Yes, Donald did.
Donald did.
Yeah.
And, you know, Donald and Bobby Harrison and Muleshoe, of course, Donald is now deceased, but now Bobby still lives in Muleshoe. And so was this right out at their home in Muleshoe? Where they...
Wherever he got his eggs, I'm not sure where he got them.
I see. Now, something about this I think is really neat. Who had the idea of painting on the egg?
Well, eggs have been painted on for many centuries, so...
But for Bobby and Donald.
Uh,
did they ask you or did you ask them?
no, they asked me.
They asked you. And he didn't bring you a mule?
No, but I've got some... yeah, he brought me some mules. There's one on another egg in here.
Okay. And you and Bobby go back a couple of years, even further back than you and I do, Rita. You all were in high school together, weren't you?
Yeah, and we were in junior high together.
And you played basketball together.
Uh-huh.
And you went to the state.
Well, we still hold the record for all state.
But tell us why Bobby didn't go.
She got married.
And they wouldn't let her go.
No, and Joadine and Francis Bland did the same thing. And we had a school rule that they could not, if they were married, participate in anything.
And they've all still been your friends all these years.
Every one of them. There are 9 of us.
And now we've got 4 that you've mentioned. So who else?
Okay, Carolyn Wallace in Big Spring. I mean Midland, Texas, and Betty Klein in Midland, Texas, and Jean Saylor, and she's in Arizona somewhere. Well, it's right out of Phoenix, I think. It's a valley. And then how many have I know?
You're to 7.
7, okay. Bobby and Joe and Francis and I, Sammy Lewis,
That's
Hall, and...
now we go.
Do we need to redo that?
Well, now, listen, tell me, what were y'all called?
Well, it depends on different...
Tell the whole...
Yeah, we were, different years we were called different things because we did some promoting for the Will Rogers Roundup and rodeo. At that time, we had a rodeo. And at that time, I think we were called the Dinky Darlings.
There was another name, too.
Yeah, she's wanting the Nasty Nine, I think. It's the one she wants.
And we got to think of that other one. But everybody is still living except one or all are still living.
Norma Gay is in, her name was Norma Graves. It's Norma Wagner now. And she has Alzheimer's, and she's in Clarington, Texas.
Okay. And so now, you all even get together and have reunions?
Yeah, we still have a slumber party every now and then.
And you had a 50th anniversary one time at Sammy's house, remember? Well, I think that is so neat. High school, grade school friends.
Yeah,
still.
yeah, we all go back a long way. Some of them are even older than I am.
Imagine that, right?
Yeah, imagine.
Of course, this is another one of the eggs that belongs to Bobby Harrison. And if anyone knew Donald and Bobby, well, they know that they loved mules. And, of course, they went on the sesquicentennial wagon train that was held to celebrate Texas independence in 1996. 86, thank you, Robert. And so this is real reminiscent of the wagon and the mules that pulled them on that wagon train. But Donald always had mules and loved them. Anything else, Rita, you want to say about this particular one?
Not about this one.
Okay. We all know that the mascot for West Texas State A&M University at Canyon is the buffalo, and here we have buffaloes on this. And actually Donald Harrison gave the buffalo that they use there on the campus and for parades all over our area and sporting events for WT, and he donated that buffalo to the WT Buffs a number of years ago. This one features, of course, the Rheata White signature. Without Rheata White signing it, you would know this is a Rheata White windmill. I really can't explain how you know it's a Rheata White windmill, but other people just don't capture the charm and the interest in the windmill that we see so much in West Texas and even over into eastern New Mexico and the Southwest. And Rita, turn this just a tad so they can Robert can capture your signature there, which is real unique, which I want to know on your birth certificate. How do you spell Rita?
It's Rheata.
And your mom and dad thought of that?
And then it's Wyvonne.
Rita or Vaughn?
Wyvonne.
Wyvonne. Rita. And here, besides on the egg, is another windmill on the wall, and you can see the Rheata White signature really easy there. It seems like to me, Rita, that probably Jewel and Jeff Peeler knew you were going to be artistic even from birth to spell your name that way, Rheata.
Probably so.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I do. I really do. It's been a special name. It's one that you don't see.
No. Sort of like Maggie.
Right. And I wouldn't trade those.
No. And I love the Indian Pueblo.
Thank you. That's enamel on copper, and that's called a crackle enamel. It's handled the way that the crackle does not crack. And then there's one of the cotton bowls, which is one of our plants out here. And then the horse is just a horse. It's a left-handed rope on it.
And then the bird nests up here in the...
That's a watercolor.
Blue. Is that something new or something you did a while ago?
It's fairly new.
Yeah, I
And it's robin eggs. This is an interesting piece. Phil and Patty Kent own this piece.
This is a brochure for Rheata.
And this is an enamel on copper that is done in sections.
How many sections on this one?
There's about 48, I believe. It's just right under 50, and I believe it's 48.
Now, did they commission you to do this?
Yes, they commissioned me to do this, and this is different cathedrals in France and Germany and throughout over there. This little piece right here is where the artist, where the artist paint. This is an actual building, and then some of these are just creative. They're not actual buildings. This is an actual one. This one is not.
But this one right here? Is not.
Is not.
You just designed that
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah. And I have several designs in there of just cathedrals.
How big is this?
This one is 40 by 56 and a half inches.
Now, when you put it together, Rheata, how do you put it together?
This is put together with what is called tough bond, and it's a bonding material that bonds the copper to. We had a frame built for this so it would not ever buckle in time. So it's on several layers of wood with panels running down through them where there's no way that it'll ever buckle.
And it hangs in which room of the Phil Kent home in Muleshoe?
It's in their dining area. And dining and den area. And really interesting piece. It has the bees of prosperity here. It has a lot of Christian
Symbol.
Yeah, in it. And down here I have his name. Then you see the messy looks here. These are games that were played in the cathedrals. These are the keys of St. Peter. This is the Lamb and the Lion. This is the Fountain of Youth. This is the vase of the woman at the well. And I have little things throughout it just makes it a more interesting piece.
It does. Thank you for sharing that magnificent work with us. Just some of the other works of art of Rheata. You know, when Dr. Caballero first came to Muleshoe, one of his first lessons was to paint a barn. Is that a basic beginner or not?
Yeah, that's pretty basic beginner.
Is it?
And he was a wonderful instructor.
And of course, Rheata's windmills, all sizes and descriptions, but I can always pick out that it's a Rheata White windmill.
Thank you, Maggie.
I wish it would become worth $1 million or $2 million in your lifetime.
Well, it won't.
Now, don't be negative, Rheata. Everything.
It might later, but not right now. Now, some of these are on location, and some of them are not on location. Some
Did
of
you
them
ever
are just
take pictures and then go home?
Yeah. Do that. You sit out in the snow a lot, and in bad weather a lot, and in the sand a lot.
And that's easy to find. At least this winter it was
Right.
the snow. But the sand, with CPR grass, it seems like we get less sandstorms.
Seems like we do.
And that's okay to me.
I really think that helps a lot.
I do too.
Okay, this is one of 3 storage sheds. Then the one over the table here. I can't even remember what. Yeah, grass. This one is called buffalo grass, and it's an oil painting in the old master's technique.
Rita, the cat looks so typical if anyone knows you. Is it your particular cat that you had?
No, this was a cat at the end of an alley that went up on this walkway to this cabin in the mountains.
I see.
Where I had my art school up there.
I see, at Cloudcroft.
Uh-huh. And this one is done from photography and drawing. Do we need to move that one? Okay.
This has really been a delightful experience. I don't think I've had so much fun ever coming to Friona.
I know.
Is to come and visit with Rheata Peeler White, former, long-time, well-known Muleshoe artist. Rheata, you live where now?
I live at the Heritage in Friona, Texas.
And, of course, she is the daughter of Jewel Peeler. And Jewel now has just moved as your neighbor, hadn't she?
Yeah, she moved up the 1st of March, and she's right across the hall from me.
And that makes it nice for both of you.
Yeah, it does.
And she's
sure
doing
is.
well?
Yeah, she's doing pretty good.
Good.
She'll be 93 in July.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah,
well,
it is.
Thank you for spending your afternoon with us here at the Syndicate Hotel in Friona and just showing us just a few of your artworks. We didn't see everything.
No, we didn't.
But and telling us a little bit about your story of how you've made our lives so much happier.
Well, thank you very much, Maggie. The pleasure's been mine.